we have here RC Solar and Roofing. I got Tracey and Justin, and I know you guys found me through the social media, through Instagram.
We did.
Correct.
And through Instagram, we've been talking about, trying to get some people some education regarding solar and some of the benefits and some of the questions and kind of those myths about solar. And so I'm glad that you guys are here, but really tell us, who are you guys, right? What do you guys do? How long have you been around in this solar industry?
Great question. Jonathan, thanks for having us. Yeah, so, I've been in the home improvement industry since 2002, covering roofing and windows and really all the energy efficiency things. And then, solar really came into the market, providing cheaper, cleaner energy to homeowners.
Right.
And I really got involved in about 2009. And then 2011, we started our own company offering energy efficient solutions, and solar and roofing being the majority of that.
So close to 15 years you guys have been doing this.
Correct.
And why did you guys get into solar? What was a big leap for you?
It just was a great add-on to what we're already doing. And, we saw the benefits for the homeowners. And let's face it, we need to do something, cleaner energy. Not everybody believes in that. For some of us, it's about the planet. And for others, it's about the savings and the money and stopping time and putting more money back in your pocket.
I know that's for me. Like, I know the savings is all about it. When you have a quarter-acre lot and a big pool, and here in California and it gets hot, it's definitely a big help. Now,
absolutely.
I really want you guys to talk about a little bit about solar. Just when did it come about? When did it really start pushing here in California? Because I've been seeing a big movement on solar lately. And a lot of people, we know that, hey, new construction homes, they have to have them, but what's the real big push on solar? Why are we really pushing on solar today?
The reason why solar has just been going, crazy here over the last 15 years in San Diego is because the rates are so high. And, in Southern California, California in general, but I know Southern California, we have now taken the lead of the highest energy costs in the country. People are looking for breathing room. And, I call it the utility mafia. When we're dealing with the utility mafia, they're making billion-dollar profits on a regular basis. Rates have not gone down. They just continue to go up and up and up. And so what can you do? There aren't many things in life that you can do where you can put something on your roof. It creates energy. It's creating cash that you're already spending, and it's gonna put money back in your pocket.
And I'm glad that you said utility mafia and not me, because I always tell people that it's like a big monopoly or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And so,
right.
Don't get us started.
Yeah. That's another conversation that we can have. So I really just want to get to the nitty and gritty of it, but for those that don't really understand solar, I know there's so many people that have a bajillion questions, right? And I think one of the main questions are, what is the typical upfront cost associated with installing solar panels into your home?
One thing I'd like to share is that, there's really no wrong way to go solar, okay? However, if you don't know all of the options, you might not choose the best option for you.
Okay.
And, just like buying a home, there's different ways of doing that. And in solar, there's two ways. You either own the system, which you could pay upfront cash or do a loan, or you can do what's called a third-party owned system, which is called a lease or a PPA.
Gotcha.
And each one has a little different things that separate them from one another. So there's no wrong way to do it. The most important thing is to work with somebody who can educate you on all the options and really isn't just pushing one way. It's important to know all the options so you can make the best decision for yourself.
Gotcha. So it's really dependent on the individual to select what option is best for them. For example, I have a PPA, purchase power agreement, right? That's what it's
correct.
Yep. A purchase power agreement on my house because that's how I bought it, right?
Correct.
Given my circumstances, I love it, but I think I definitely would have purchased it if I could. But this is how I bought my house.
Right.
So
correct.
People can buy their homes with solar already installed. We know that with new houses. What about houses that are not new? How does that work?
Yeah, homes that are not new, then you're going to have an energy assessment with a qualified consultant, and they're going to be able to take a look at your energy needs and then share with you the different options that you have of going solar. And so there's benefits to both, but each person is different. Some people look at it as an investment, like, hey, how quickly am I going to get my return on my money, and what does that equate to over time? And other people look at solar like, look, I already have this bill. It's going up an average of 10% a year. what I'm already paying it. I just want to repurpose the money that I'm already spending, and how can I do that? And that's how you do that with a lease or PPA or a loan, where you put no money down. There's no money up front, and then you build the system properly and you're saving money right out of the gates.
I'm going to add two things to that of importance is a lot of people want energy independence, and that's a separate conversation.
Right.
And also a lot of people are concerned about our planet and their green footprint, and that's also, part of the equation.
I absolutely agree with you. Now, when you purchase or lease or, you do a power purchase agreement, those are the three, right? The three.
Yep.
How does the maintenance requirements for solar panels, how do they compare to traditional energy sources? Like fossil fuels, for example.
As far as maintenance goes, the maintenance, we don't really see the maintenance, from the utility mafias. It only shows up on our bills.
We pay for it.
Right? We pay for it. So we don't know how often, they're maintaining those and things like that. But what I will say about solar is it's very reliable. And, there's some people never need maintenance. Maybe 25% out of everyone that goes solar is going to have maintenance on their system. And the systems come with, warranties. There's manufacturer's warranties, and then there's also, workmanship and labor warranties. So
what is some maintenance associated with solar?
It's like anything. When you have a car, you got to do oil changes and you got to replace brakes. But when it comes to solar, there's inverters, which is like the computer. That's what converts the energy from direct current to alternating current, which is what we use in the house. And sometimes those computers malfunction. Just like anything, there's, manufacturer's defects and they need to be checked out.
I know, for example, mine, there's a community being built next to my home, and there's constantly just dirt blowing. Does washing them help at all or anything of that nature, or?
Washing them can help. There are situations where if it's a very dusty, area or a new community being built and it's causing dust to, create a film on your panels, that would be a reason to do it. Or, we have fires here in California. So sometimes you have the ash and, that could be do it. Sometimes you paint your house and your painter gets overspray on your panels. And, that's a common thing. So make sure your painters, mask off your solar systems. Okay. But yes, there are times where it makes sense to have your solar panels cleaned by a professional cleaning company.
The beauty is in California, for the most part, our weather is pretty reliable and predictable. It doesn't really require a lot of maintenance on the panel.
Well, that's a good thing because it reminds me kind of more of like a Tesla. Yes, there's maintenance, but there's not much maintenance compared to your traditional car where, yes, your oil changes, your brakes, and spark plugs.
Correct.
With the Tesla, I think the maintenance is you're rotating tires, right? You're not doing anything fancy. So that's kind of what it reminds me of. But what determines if a roof is actually, suitable for installing solar panels? Because, my audience knows that I sell homes, right? And they know that I've been doing this for a while, and I see some homes that are just not the best condition, and I wouldn't want to slap anything on that roof. So what makes it suitable for the average Joe Schmo? How do they know the roof is good?
Well, I think what's important, I'm going to say this, one thing about the maintenance, about the solar, the great thing about solar is it all comes with monitoring. So you're able to monitor your system in the palm of your hand with your phone. So you always know what's going on. Recommend checking it weekly, monthly at the minimum. But going into the roofing, what's important is that if you're working with a company that does roofing and solar, typically you're going to be in good hands because they understand the roof needs to be in the right condition in order to install the solar. And so they're going to do a roof check, right? And have your best interest in mind. What I found is that there's some companies that only do solar and their business is just put solar on roofs. And sometimes they're not always taking your best interest into mind. Right. And so I always recommend in this situation, always get your roof inspected by a roofer before putting solar on. And unfortunately, because we do roofing, we see this all the time. And, within 2 years or 3 years or 4 or 5 years of the installation, the homeowner's having to remove their panels and have them reinstalled. I mean, think about all the labor that goes into that. So you're not buying the equipment, but you've got to get up on the roof, take it apart, take it down, bring it back up, put it back together. And this can cost, the going rates right now are $150 to $300 per panel. So if you think about those numbers, it can be an added expense that, in my opinion, shouldn't have been there if you're working with the right people.
It's funny that you guys are solar and roofing, because majority of the solar companies, maybe I don't know, but are just solar.
Correct.
And so that's a really great factor that you guys have the roofing as well. Now, I guess my next question, to piggyback off that, if someone had a roof that needed to be repaired, how do you guys correlate that? Are you guys able to fix that while installing the solar panels, or do they have to go through a separate company? Because you guys are a roofing company as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know roofing, that's costly. So how does, a lot of people don't have $25,000 just to slap on a roof. How can they pivot it to ensure that they still get a new roof and the solar panels that they want?
Yeah, so what a lot of homeowners do is we'll just take care of the areas where the solar is going.
Okay.
So in many cases, that's going to save on the overall cost. So we take care of the areas where the solar is going, and then in certain situations, it makes sense for homeowners to do the entire roof. There are some incentives and things like that, depending on your tax professional, where you can bundle it together and
That's what I want to hear. You can bundle it together.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You can.
All right.
And
cool.
you should, if your roof is over 15-ish years and you're considering solar, you should definitely be having that conversation and bundling that together.
I definitely, if I did not have PPA, I think that's a direction I definitely would have gone.
Yeah.
Right. So, but why is it important for a solar installer to also be a licensed roofing contractor, or just a licensed roofer in general? Why is that important?
I'm going to say it's not mandatory or necessary, but it's a huge benefit and value to the consumer, the homeowner, and also to our real estate partners, because having the whole foundational information, I mean, it's like I'm trying to think of a good analogy, but we see it all the time where solar went on a roof.
Mm-hmm.
That was too old to have solar put on it.
Gotcha. So
And
And it's important to let the homeowner know, like, look, you have 5 years left on your roof. It's up to them essentially at the end of the day. Or there's 10 years left on this roof. How would you like to handle it? It's not us pushing them. It's just really information. It's a consultative approach, knowing all of your options so you can make the best decision. And of course,
need to know, definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
That
makes perfect sense. I mean, honestly, I know my roof is definitely original in my house. I know that there were some spots I needed to tune up. And so when I got a roofing contractor out there, like, it just gave me a lot of ease to tell me, like, okay, you're looking pretty good. There's some spots that we can definitely patch up. But if it was figured out during the, solar process, it would have probably saved me a big headache, right?
Right.
It can get pretty pricey at times. Now, this is a question, a lot of people definitely have in their minds. Are there any common, misconceptions about solar that you often encounter for homeowners? I think I know the answer to this, but...
Well, solar isn't free. California's not going to pay for your solar.
Yes.
So let's just get those two things.
It's not based off the zip code you live in, or anything
your
like that.
Zip code doesn't qualify. I mean, all of those things that we see on a regular basis. I mean, I don't mean to be rude, but like common sense, nothing is free.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
just know that that's not true.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is that, in the past, when they've talked about solar, you were thinking you need to have the perfect roof orientation. Oh, it has to be south, and that's not true. With the cost of energy right now, I mean, for some of us, we're looking at 80 cents a kilowatt hour in the summer months. Wow. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, the average, everyone is well over 40 cents these days. SDG&E probably averages over 50 cents. Now we're using east, west, south, north, even if that's what's available. And even though the panels on the north side are working less, it's still, the cost versus value is there.
Yeah.
And so it still makes sense.
Right. And that's something I was going to ask you is, what is the south, east, west, north, what does that correlate to solar? But you just answered it. So south is
the best. It gets the most sun exposure. East is going to get the morning, and west gets the afternoon. And what's important to know now in California and the landscape that we're in is that all homes now are coming with a battery. And so when you go solar today in the market now, you're going to have a battery, and that battery serves two functions. One, it's either going to be just acting like the grid, where you're going to charge it up and give yourself the energy. Second function would be it actually acts as backup power, so you can have that. So homes now are becoming microgrids. You're storing your own power, giving it back. And so when you're doing that, you actually want some panels on the east if you can, because in the morning you get up, you make your coffee, you're using energy. So if you have solar panels there to start making energy, well, now you're using your own energy. And then as the sun moves, so in today's world, if we can, we're trying to use different facets of the roof, because that's what's going to benefit the homeowner the most.
Gotcha. All right, awesome.
I'm just going to say one more.
Yeah.
I think the biggest misconception about solar is that it's too expensive. It's only for the affluent, because I've heard that come out of
That's what I thought. Yep, that's what I thought.
And that they can't afford it. There's too much upfront cost. And that's what made me leave corporate America and join Justin in this revolution, because honestly, those are all false.
That's right. What I thought as a consumer when I first bought solar back in 2015. I thought, this is for what you just said, right? And I had no idea that it was something that really changed my life, because at that time when I bought in 2015, I had a small little 3-bed, 2-house bungalow, and I was just eating up electricity. Even back then, rates were a little bit lower. But then after I got the solar, I definitely saw my credits every month.
Yeah.
Because I was just not using as much as I was producing. So for me, I know I've seen the value in it. For other people, they haven't. But this is one question, because I know how it helped me when I sold. How do solar panels impact the resale of a home? So if I sell my house, how is that going to help me or hurt me if I were to sell?
Well, I think it's important to understand that, number one, the opportunity for solar is for everyone in every home. And if you think about it, a home needs energy, right?
Yep.
And solar's just like a utility. You're just getting it from the sun, right? And so to answer that question, for me, it's if rates are 50 cents right now,
right,
and you're buying a home that has a locked-in price at 25 cents, what's the value? I mean, there's a major value there. The energy you're buying for your home is half the price. So imagine if you were to roll back gas prices, if you could go back 10 years ago and someone said, hey, we're going to lock you in at $3 for the next 20 years. I would sign that. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Why the heck not?
I've never heard of that. That's a great announcement.
I would much rather be paying $3 a gallon for gas right now than $5 and whatever it is. So the value is there, and we've heard different things. We've heard from Zillow put something out recently. It said 4% of the value of the home. Other people say that it can be like 50% of the value of the system.
On an owned system.
Yeah, on an owned system.
Appraisers are looking at solar. I mean, the whole industry is looking at solar from a different lens now, because it is very, 10 years ago when we were talking about solar to the real estate industry, they were looking at us like
you're crazy.
Okay, this is, I get it. But it's obviously very apparent that solar's only, and rates have never gone down. So they've only ever gone up. And so
have they been increasing the past couple of years?
Electric rates?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. In the last 4 years, they're 50% higher, if not even more. And so, the rates now in California are the highest, that you can find in the country. So,
starting next year, not to get too crazy and political or anything like that, but California is going to have a new fixed rate based on your income.
I read about that.
And that is happening. It's looking like it's going to happen. And that's just another one.
So let's talk about that. It's going to be based off your income. So,
that's what they're trying. That's what they're trying to get done.
If you're not part of the lower income, with bracket, your utility company, you will get this fixed rate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're not sure exactly what it's going to be. It's in the
$25 range. It's only, but it's just there. It's going to be their line item.
So essentially, if you don't have solar and this does go through, you might be shooting yourself. For someone that makes really good income, let's say, for example, they're $400,000 a year. Right. Will they be charged more? Is that what that is? They'll be charged more per their utility cost, or?
Well, they were trying to get it approved to be a flat rate. And
Right,
I think what ended up happening is that isn't happening, where they're not going to be doing it based off of how much you make.
Okay.
However, it's come to where everybody's going to have a fixed rate. It's going to,
Okay.
they're proposing numbers around $25. Not really sure. It's not set in stone yet. It's all happening right now, actually, as we speak, on what that is going to be. But this is all customers, whether you have solar or not.
Gotcha.
It's going to be, there's going to be a flat rate added.
So this could potentially actually help people versus hurt people, or vice versa?
No, I mean.
Well, any fixed rate, I think, is hurting. And, you know, even if it starts at 25, where is it going to be in 5 or 10 years? And so this is where, like, CALSA and the CPUC and the politicians, I mean, unfortunately, that's just the way it is. You're trying to work it out with the utility mafia, right? Because it's really them, and the politicians. I mean, I hate to say it, but they're, in bed together.
That's so crazy just to think about it. That they will make a fixed rate.
Yes.
So if you're not in solar, then you're shooting yourself in the foot potentially for the long run.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah. I think that will definitely make a big leap into the solar industry if that does come through.
I mean, think about it. The utility grid's 130 plus years old. It really wasn't built for everything that we have. So, how are they maintaining it? What are they doing? And really what they're doing is they're going out building wind farms, solar farms, everything like that. And then they're charging you anyways. I mean, it's incorporated in the rates and in the fees, and it just keeps going up and up and up. So, what makes sense? Do it yourself or keep paying?
That, you said, what is the benefit of selling a solar home, or what are the values? I think, or I know from being out in the marketplace, that there's just a much higher volume of eco-friendly buyer and people who care about the planet and their carbon footprint on the planet. And so,
and I 100% agree with you. I 100% agree with you, especially here in California, where we're just horrible when it comes to that. And you can go through cities where I was born in LA, and I mean, you can't see more than 2 miles, and I wish they would change, and so hopefully we do make it change. But now let me ask you guys this, because a lot of people definitely, solar, they think that solar is just something that, hey, it's just a salesman, whatever, they're just trying to get me this. But what are really some great financial incentives or rebates available for homeowners who do install solar panels? So what do I get if I do get a solar panel? Because I know there's sometimes something that will incentivize you to buy solar panels, which is great.
Right.
I love that.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Well, I love our solar because, I look forward to getting our bill and just seeing it, be zero, right? That's always exciting. But the incentives that are out there right now, there's a 30% federal tax credit. So this isn't like a reduction on your income, doesn't reduce your taxable income.
Right.
It's a dollar for dollar credit. So what you pay in your federal taxes throughout the year, whatever that number is, depending on the cost of the system, you might get it all in 1 year, or maybe you'll have to roll over. And then if you're doing batteries, there are some rebates. It's called SGIP, things that you have to apply for, but this will reduce the cost of the batteries as well. So, those are the two things that are going right now in California that can, make a difference. And the federal tax credit is all across the U.S. And
so if I buy a $10,000 solar system right now, I get $3,000 back.
Correct.
Essentially.
Yes.
Okay. In my tax return. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, it comes back on it does come back to you on your tax return when you're doing it.
And the reason I'm saying this is to my audience is because I've been there where when I first bought my first solar system, I paid $20,000, and I remember it saved me a good $6,000 in my taxes at a time where I owed to the government. And because I had the solar credit and the solar incentives, I actually got money back. And it was just a great incentive to have. And so I thought about it as okay, at that time, I was like, wow, this was a great investment for me. So in reality, did I really spend $20,000 on the system if I got $6,000 back? Right? Is that a way that you can look at it?
Yeah, and that's how it's a great way of explaining, right? There's two people. People are W-2'd, and people, have, they own their businesses, and maybe they're, 1099 or however you want to look at it. And so when you're a W-2 employee, if you make $100,000 a year, you're going to be in a 20 to 25% tax bracket with the Fed. So as long as you're not changing your deductions, I mean, you're paying $20,000 to $25,000 throughout the year to the federal tax. And so if you have a $50,000 solar system and there's a 30% tax credit, that's $15,000. So if you paid 20 or 25 in, they're going to give you that $15,000 back all in that first year. Okay. And sometimes that's why there's other options. Some people don't qualify for a tax credit. And that's why there's the TPOs, third party owned systems like a lease or a PPA. Right. And what's great about those companies is that they assume all of that. They get the tax credit and all the incentives. Gotcha. And then that gets built into the benefits for you. So when you decide to go that direction, that it's all accounted for, and then your cost is lower and your payments lower. So either way, you're getting the benefits. And so that's why there's no wrong way to go solar. It just depends on how you want to do it. And you do receive the benefits either way.
Either way. Okay, so if you go for the lease or the power purchase agreement, you get it indirectly.
Correct.
Essentially. Right. And if you go directly and you purchase it, you're going to be like me, and you get that money back. Right. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, so that's good. I didn't know that. Yeah. See, I didn't know that you essentially get that indirectly. Right. And that's a great thing that we have you guys here for. Now, this is more or less right here one of my last questions. How do you explain how net metering works and how it benefits homeowners with solar panels? What is net metering? Yeah.
Well, net metering is an agreement that your home makes with the utility, and there's different ones. Right now, we're in net metering 3. 1 and 2, the utility was committing at a specific rate that they were going to compensate you for the energy, extra energy that you were generating. Okay, and it was basically 1-to-1 to keep it simple. Okay. So if you put $1 onto the grid, they're giving you $1 back. Well, now the landscape's a little bit different, and they haven't taken net metering away, but it's very low. It's maybe 25%. 5%. So if you put $1 on, they only want to give you 25 cents back. So. Gotcha. So the landscape has shifted, as we talked about before, is now homes are becoming microgrids. And what that means is that you're having your own battery to store your power. And we want to put the least amount of power back onto the grid. And there's some really neat things coming for homeowners that have batteries, where the utility is actually going to, in the summer months when it's high demand, like August, September, they're actually going to, if you allow them to, they're going to draw from your battery, push it onto the grid to help support the community with power, and they're going to compensate you for it. So at that time, let's say it costs $1, okay, and these are just hypothetical numbers, but let's say it costs $1 for energy at that time, and you're going to have to buy it at $1. Well, they're going to compensate you $4 per kilowatt hour for the energy you pushed back onto the grid. And how many times can you do that in a month? So it actually is working. It can work out in your benefit quite a bit. Awesome. So this is the future of solar, is batteries, and I do believe in time most homes are gonna have a battery.
So where do you guys see solar in about 10 years from now? Like, what do you see that there's gonna be some big major changes to energy industry in general? Like, where do you guys see this going?
Well, we're there. I mean, it's happening now. We happen to live in a state that has, if doesn't have the most solar, it might be close second to Hawaii. Right. But
really, Hawaii?
Yeah, Hawaii has tons of solar. They used to have the highest rates, but now it's us here.
I thought it would be like Nevada or Arizona.
No, the rates are a little bit lower, but where I'm going with this is that we've hit grid parity in the United States, which means that most places where solar is viable, it's cheaper for solar energy than it is for getting energy from your utility mafia. So right now, I think it's maybe about 4% of homes in the United States have solar, and they're expecting it to jump all the way up to 15% by 2030. And studies have been put out there that the peak of the solar boom is going to be in 2042 or 2046, somewhere around there. So solar as a whole, not just in California, but across the country, is just
skyrocketing,
going up.
Wow.
And in other states, there's other incentives. So depends on where you live. The incentives we talked about today are here California based, but depending on what state you're in, there's different incentives, for that. And we can talk about that another time. But
all right, awesome. That's great to know. Now, you guys gave us a lot of useful information that, the average consumer just does not know. And I definitely learned a lot, and I took a lot away from it. I didn't know Hawaii was our number one. I just, for whatever reason, I thought the desert.
Right.
Nevada or Arizona. But you guys gave a lot of great value, and I didn't know about the incentives that if you don't purchase, you still get the incentive indirectly.
Correct.
So that was that's a misconception I had.
Right.
I thought you just really didn't get much back if you did the power purchase agreement or the lease. So that's really cool that now I feel like I'm getting incentivized. So that's awesome. Well, I do appreciate you guys coming with us. Now, if somebody's looking to purchase solar or anything like that, how can they contact you? Do you guys have a website or social media, phone numbers, emails?
RC Solar and Roofing, that's with our website, that's with our Instagram. We're there a lot lately, and Tracey at RC Solar and Roofing, it's pretty cohesive, but we want to say thank you. We were really excited to come here today because we appreciate people like you who really put value into education, and this is huge. So thank you for having us here in the studio. We love it.
Yes, thank you.
RC Solar
and Roofing. RC stands for Right Choice.
Right Choice Solar and Roofing, but RC abbreviated. And is that .com? Is that the website?
Yes.
Correct.
So RC Solar and Roofing, we'll put it in the link below.
Thanks.
So thank you guys for watching.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.